Welcome everyone back at Taroka Double Railways, and today we're going to unbox a very special gift that was given to me on my birthday by my husband. And let's jump into it. Today's locomotive is none other than Hornby R3544 LNER B12 class, and the running number of course is number 8527. As explained before, it's the Hornby DCC ready and Hornby model number R3544, and that is the LNER B12 class locomotive number 8527. And I dug this loco up from the box of locomotives still to be reviewed and to introduce to all the subscribers and everyone of the public out there on the Taroka layout today. So the LNER B12 class is the famous class by James Holden. And the B12 class was one of the very highly anticipated locomotives by Hornby back in the yesteryear, and more were produced around 2015, and as it is the 10th celebration right now, I guess, on Taroka Double Railways today. And obviously there were many other models before this one, but this one being DCC ready is definitely one of the nicer locomotives in my opinion, and it's one that was on my list for a very long time. And definitely the B12 4P 3F is definitely one of those nice locos to have on your layout. And let me jump into it straight away. There was a lot of talk about issues with this B12, and I do believe that many people did suffer some inadequate service on the loco and running of the loco with faults and issues they've experienced with this specific loco. And more to that, I double checked this loco and checked on all the faults that were reported, and finally made my mind up that I would definitely go for one of these locos, and if not of anything, just to add it to my collection. After all, I do love the LNER locos. The fault at bay and running in this beautiful loco, and this lined apple green is just absolutely amazing, and nothing can compare to this brilliance. And Hornby has definitely captured the authenticated look of this loco in the model form, and so 10 thumbs up to Hornby for that one. So the model comes in a Hornby standard sleeve packaging, and inside we have the detailing pack along with brake rigging, the vacuum and steam pipes, and guard irons, and front NEM coupling. And I must add, that is something obviously that the original logo didn't see much of NEM couplings on the original. So to fit that might not complement the original look of the logo. But the guard irons, that is definitely something I will fit. And if you look at my D16 Hamilton, you will see that I've fitted those there. And I don't really have a lot of problems and issues with it on the layout, but on tight sidings and tight curves, you might have an issue with it jumping off. But that's obviously entirely up to you if you want to fit it. The locomotive features a wealth of details, including separately fitted smokebox with dart. And I must add, the handrail, also the extra handrail at the bottom, also just adds to that authentic look. And I think no details were spared on this. There's definitely a wealth of it for sure. And then we have the lampons, front and rear. And we have, amazingly enough, sprung buffers. And we have the numbering on the front buffer beam. And again, finely applied handrails all around. And fully detailed innovation in the Western type air pump. And the pipework is definitely exquisite on this logo, and extensively detailed cab area as well, and lovely applied glazing windows, and the rivets and detail is definitely nicely applied. The locomotive also serves up a highly detailed underframe, and again all details are very well represented on this locomotive. On the paint job, again a great apple green, and me having found the Apple Express back in my younger years, this is definitely a lovely coloured logo in my collection, and with a pinstripe white lining and smart lined LNER are aligning a very high standard, along with the black lining and throughout, and at the bottom standing out the red lining around the frames and running plate. Moving to the top of the locomotive, the brass work just stands out on the top with the safety valves and whistle nicely depicted, and along with the group numbering on the side, and the tender LNER letterings is also crisp and complements the logo by keeping the unique style all the way through. Nothing is left out. The builder's plate was also nicely depicted. A reverse rod is also featured, although plastic still complements the logo and authentication look of the logo in whole. The boiler, being metal, is great and stands out boldly, and obviously complements the die-cast look of the logo, and it makes the color look deeper, I guess, in a sense. And so is the chassis. So it's quite a hefty little logo. So running the logo, it performs great in pull-away and slow speeds and high speeds at Taraka Village layout. It could be a contributing factor of the 5-pole motor with the flywheel, who knows? But it does have the DCC feature as previously stated. I think it features an 8-pin DEC decoder, so that will probably mean that the socket will be fitted in the tender. Pickups on this loco is also on both tender and the locomotive. Running this loco on my era/personal layout, it is must to have for any hobbyist that's running the LNER in any way on their layouts. I have about 4 rakes of coaches of the LNER teak coaches, and so this will be a very happy addition to take those coaches for a ride along the layout. In the future, I'll probably look at a new themed LNER running session featuring all these LNER locos. I'm gonna have to do it. But in the meanwhile, while we're looking at the loco running on the village layout at Taroko, let's delve into the favorite part of this episode where we look at the history of the stunning Class B12. Jumping into the history now of this loco, the 4P3F, the LNER B12 class, rolling number 8527. The restrictions on locomotive weight and length were keenly felt by the Great Eastern Railway, and whilst James Holden's S46, D56 and H88 Claude Hamilton 440 designs were not unduly restricted when it came to consider a 460 design for high performance and express work. The inside cylinder was his real option. To gain power, Holden was quick to embrace the idea of a superheating, and so in 1911 the first order was placed for his S69 class locomotive. Under the GER, 71 S69 engines were built, 51 at Stratford and 20 at W.M. Birdmore and Company in Glasgow. The large enclosed cab with side windows and an extended roof were a noticeable feature of Holden's design, which, allied to the large Belpaire firebox, decorative valance over the driving wheels and short 3,700-gallon tender, gave the impression of the locomotive being bigger than it actually was. Allocated throughout East Anglian sheds, the S69 saw Stirling service hauling the Liverpool Street Norwich mainline trains, as well as the Harwich boat trains, Cambridge and Great Yarmouth services. Grouping in 1923, the S69 became classified as the LNER B12 and extended its range to Doncaster, Leeds and Manchester. The LNER's plan for 2640 engines to operate services to Southend were abandoned following issues with the type's stability, and so a further 10 B12 locomotives were ordered from Bayer, Peacock and Company to fill the void, their design being fitted with vacuum injectors, lens poppet valves and dual air and vacuum brakes, and classified as Class B12-2, with large-scale upgrading to the permanent way by the LNER. It at last became possible to increase the weight of locomotives, and so a larger round-topped boiler pattern with a bigger superheater was introduced, along with modified valve gear, resulting in a new B12/3 classification. Further modifications were carried out to the boilers of 9 of the 25 Scottish engines. This resulted in the final variation of the class, the B12/4. During 1944, due to the wide route availability, a number of the B12/3s were utilized to work on ambulance trains hauling air-braked American-built stock, mainly in the West Country. To improve the loading gauge, the footsteps were cut back and holes cut into them, making them instantly recognizable in later years. Locomotive number 8527, the loco we have on the layout today, was built at Stratford and entered traffic at Cambridge in August 1914, where it remained until October 31, 1927, when it was transferred to Ipswich, and in April 1928, number 8527 moved to Parkinson, followed by a brief move to Norwich in March 1929 before heading back to Cambridge in April that year. The ACFI feed was fitted in January 1932 at Stratford, being removed as the locomotive was rebuilt to a B12/3 in January 1935. And there you go. Thank you for sticking around to the history of this loco. And I must say, on my immaculate collection, this is probably number 2 on my list on the layout. And absolutely, again, great work by Hornby. Now looking at some treats on the layout, we got the 14XX and also the Black 5 locomotive and B17. And as you can see here, with some BR coaches, that XLMS coaches, and always nice to have an addition of a cement truck that I got with a cement box, and obviously next to the famous trying conflat cement wagon on the rail there. And yes, some touches here and there. And then obviously finally the mold of the Chevy 1953 in 00 gauge that I wanted to get for the layout to add to the scrapyard. But then again, we are also restoring this pickup in real life and also have mixed match colors like the rust and greens and blues coming through. And I decided to leave it like very similar style like this, and I'll put it out on the farm as a farm truck. And being American, there was no supporting parts in England for it, so eventually when it broke down, it just got stuck on the farm. So that's brilliant. That's kind of like the idea I'm aiming for here. And Blue is shouting hello from the back there because he hears I'm busy recording. Blue is my lovebird, by the way. And yes, so that's what the mold came out. I probably could have done it better, but I think the general effect I wanted, I basically created. I just had to have a little Chevy on the layout. I just had to. And anyways, there it is on the farm and alongside the horses there. I don't think it came out too bad. We got a wedding festival, and I added some new flowers to the layout, and by the church specifically for the wedding occasion. There we go. I love white flowers always. St. Joseph lilies are basically my favorite flowers, St. Joseph lilies, but these would do for now. It's kind of like a white mayfair. Yes, having said that, thank you everyone once again for joining me with the introduction of the B12 on my layout. And as always, take care and all my best. Regards, Elizabeth.